All right. We're getting in the groove now. Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody. As I mentioned in my last video, I've got a new camera hooked onto my laptop, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. We've got some weather coming in, so we're going to have a weather front coming in, so the humidity's really amped up. The real humidity's really pumping up the volume. So, by the way, my name is Jennifer Rose. This is the channel that I started in 2022. I'm sorry, 2020, when we were all facing the corona, when we were all in that swirl, that whirl, that craziness. And now it's 2026 and things are even crazier out there. And it's always been my mission or my passion to use universal spiritual truths in a practical way to help us solve our everyday problems, which I believe is completely possible as a student of universal truths and as a devoted practitioner. I've always been a devoted practitioner to helping to heal my mind so that I can navigate this really insane world, this upside down world with more peace and comfort and not necessarily bodily comforts, but I'm going to say comfort within my own beingness, comfort within how I am with other people and how I'm with myself. More comfort, peace, and ease. So that's always my idea as we do these questions and answers. So I've got questions from the funny papers because we're all in the funny papers. We're all in this illusion together with different worldviews. However, we're all having a human experience, and the human experience has commonalities to it, lots and lots of commonalities where sometimes we think our problem is too special to be solved. So we hold it in tight. Don't let anyone know about it because it's too special, it's too big, it's too embarrassing. Sometimes we have problems or situations or relationships that we hold tight because we don't want to bother the divine. We don't want to bother God with this situation. So again, we keep it in tight. We keep it closed. We start to wrap our fear around it, get it really, really close inside of us so it can't be exposed to the light. And absolutely no peace when we decide that a problem is too small for the divine, for spirit, for source, for your wisest self. You notice I'm using all these different words to describe your highest solution to any problem, divine creative solution to any situation or relationship. So when we decide it's too small, too special, too big, too menial, and we keep it to ourselves, the light can't get in. So really, when I talk about spiritual solutions, I'm talking about opening your mind and deciding that let's let the light in on it. Let's open it up to something bigger, to something higher, to something divine, so that it can be sorted through and so that your inner guidance can direct you gently. What's the next right step? What's the next right step? And it works for everything. That's what I have found. It works for everything. The Course in Miracles asks us to not decide to hold something separate and say that it's, like I said, too special, too big, too small, too menial, too anything, that we can't offer it up and ask for guidance. So let's start applying these principles in a practical way to everyday situations. So today's letter is from Two Leashes, One Heart. I like that. That's so sweet. And also, this is something I've been wanting to talk about is that, we're with all these people on this planet and we're not connecting or contacting with every single being on this planet, but we are connecting and contacting and in relationship with our families, our friends, our work people, our grocery store people, our social media people, our political groups. And there are people who have different world views. Not everybody thinks like you. Not everybody agrees with you. Not everybody thinks like me. Not everybody agrees with me. And so, how do we navigate that and still be compassionate, loving citizens of the planet? So, that's been on my mind a lot. I don't necessarily have the answers, but I've got some clues. I've got some clues because I've been working with this, especially in the groups that I lead. I've been working with this. We all don't have the same worldview. We don't have the same religious view or the same political review. Some of us do, but some of us don't. Even in my family, my close family, we all don't have the same worldview. And it's important to me. My mother taught me this many, many years ago. We don't throw people away. We might not spend that much time with them, perfectly fine. We might choose how we want to spend time with them or how we want to communicate with them, perfectly fine. But we don't throw them away and then X them out as non beings. It's holding a big, big grievance, shutting out the light. Okay, let's get to the letter. Which, by the way, now I've been talking for about 5 minutes, which, by the way, please do, if you're seeing this video on YouTube, which is where I post most of my content at this time, go on ahead and subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up. This all helps the algorithm, which I don't know how it works, but it works. It works if you work it, just like a 12-step program. And that helps me continue to help you. So go on ahead and do those things for me. I really appreciate it. Two Leashes says, Two Leashes, One Heart. I have two dogs, one who's 12, who moves like an old lady in slippers, and then one who's 5 and believes every delivery driver is his best friend. They were both with me through the hardest years, including a time when I'd come home to a silent house and feel my throat tighten even before I took my shoes off. Man, I hear you, sister. I hear you. Here's the problem. I call her a sister because she says she's dating a man, but who knows? I'm going to call her a sister. I'm dating a man I really like. He's steady, he's thoughtful, he opens doors, not in a showy way, but in a way that makes me feel safe. He's the kind of person who texts, "Did you get home okay?" and actually means it. But he does not like dogs. Not fear, not allergy, just dislike. He tolerates them the way someone tolerates a loud neighbor. Oh my goodness. He avoids touching them. If one of the dogs leans against his leg, he steps away. He's mentioned twice now that eventually we'd have to talk about what happens to the dogs if this gets serious. I'm pausing, dramatic pause, thinking about Snoopy getting sent off to the farm. The first time he said it, I laughed because I assumed he didn't realize what he was asking. The second time I didn't laugh, and he said, "I'm not trying to be cruel. I just don't want to live with animals." I haven't told my kids yet because I'm embarrassed. Yeah, there's that keeping it inside, inside. The light can't get in. I don't want to sound dramatic, but in my body, it feels dramatic. Of course, my darling, of course. You know, your worldview is that these are your babies. They're like your kids. They saved you. You can't forsake them or throw them away. Of course, it feels in your body dramatic. Like someone is asking me to erase a part of my life that carried me through. Is there any compromise here that doesn't end with resentment? Or is this one of those hard truths where love isn't enough? Let me just take a moment to feel into the situation. So grateful that you felt brave enough to feel courageous enough to offer the letter to the light. You're offering this situation to the light. And I just want to remind you that you're not alone. You're not alone, that there are people who have navigated this situation. However, let's remember that in your relationship, people show you who they are. So I'm not saying you throw this person away. I'm saying that you move forward with your eyes open, and your eyes are open because this man that you're dating told you, I don't want to live with animals. He told you that. It's almost got that feeling of like, what if he said, I don't want to live with children? How would you work it out? So the question doesn't become, to me, as I'm feeling this, as we're, applying these spiritual principles. Number one, your feeling is valid. Your feelings are valid. You say, I don't want to be dramatic. I don't want to sound dramatic, but in my body, it feels dramatic. And I think that's like a really good clue. Like I'm following what my feeling, and my feelings are giving me information about this situation, that this isn't going to work the way it is now. This is not going to work like this. And then number two, that he's showing you who he is, which is great. Hallelujah. Halla effing luya. He is showing you who he is. And there's this idea that as we're willing to be honest with ourselves, I'm embarrassed. I don't know how to handle this situation. That's honesty that you're having with yourself. This feels dramatic. It doesn't feel good. With that honesty, you can also get honest with the situation as you look at the situation. Dang, he's just flat out saying, I don't want to live with animals. And you're like looking at it with your eyes open. There's that idea in the Bible where the scales come off your eyes. Okay, I'm willing for the scales to come off my eyes, even though I'm afraid I'm going to lose this situation that seems really good. I really like this guy. I really, really don't want to lose it. So, is it worth it for me to keep the scales on my eyes and to just move forward blindly? Or am I willing to be courageous to let the scales fall off my eyes so I can move forward being honest with myself and being honest with this other person that I'm want to move forward with in a relationship? So that's like the first question to yourself. This is all about you really feeling on the inside. Am I willing to be courageous? Am I willing to be honest? Am I willing to see what's going on? Am I willing to face the fear of maybe it's just not the right fit? Maybe it's just not the right fit. So these are all like internal questions. And maybe you want to support yourself. I I definitely wouldn't go to a friend first because maybe you don't have supportive friends who can support you in this, who might foster you keeping the scales on your eyes, or who might say, just ditch the guy, just ditch him, just like fly off the handle without really I don't know if you've got people who can support you as you move through the process, because the process isn't just a quick answer. The process isn't just stay or go, keep him or kick him out. The process is really feeling your way through it. And it sounds to me like you are feeling your way through it. So I would recommend that you start with some journaling regarding the situation about how you feel, what's important to you, what you're afraid of. That's a really good question. What am I afraid of? And then, as I say in all of my videos, get quiet, take a few deep breaths, have a sesh with yourself, asking yourself, feeling yourself, and then listen for guidance. Listen. What's the next right step? What's the next right step for me? Now, I don't know what's going to come up. Only your wisest self knows what's going to be appropriate to bring up at the time for your next right step. The idea is that you're willing to listen to your wisest self. You're willing to listen to your intuition rather than going to your friends or even going to this person first. The idea is you're willing to listen to the next right step. And then we move with the guidance. Now, from the letter, I can glean what might be helpful for you because you end the letter with these two lines. Is there any compromise here that doesn't end in resentment? Yes. Or is this one of those hard truths where love isn't enough? And that's like a stopper for me, where love isn't enough. I think it's easy to I think it's easy to decide that either if you love each other, it's gonna be enough. I would rephrase the question, are are you willing, is he willing? Is he willing to work enough for the relationship? Because to be in a relationship with a partner, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of honesty. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of awareness and consciousness. I'm going to sum it up with it takes a lot of work. So to me, the question would be, is he willing to work? Is he willing to work through these issues? I mean, there's so many different ways that this could be figured out. Maybe you never live together and then the animals and the kids aren't even an issue. So I definitely know people who have separate households so that they can have time apart and have their own space and the things that they like, and that the other person can do the same. So, I mean, I'm just like, well, that's my fly off the handle answer. But there's lots of ways to work it out. But the question is, are you willing to work and is he willing to work? To me, that would be, and then let the actions show because the actions show louder than words. Let the actions show, and then you keep connecting with your own inner wisest self, and you keep connecting of how it feels in the body. Your experience is valid, and then you continue to listen to your inner guidance and let his actions speak loudest. Okay. I hope that was very helpful. Two leashes and one heart. And now I'm going to read someone else's opinion. about this, someone else's idea. Okay, this is not just about the dogs. This is about your daily life. The comfort and the enthusiasm you get from your dogs are integral to your daily life, and they have been there for you through a lot. It would change your day to day if they were no longer part of it. And I also agree when with this other person who says this is not just about the dogs. It never is. It never is about the kids or the dogs or is love enough. It's always about something from the past. And it's always about are you willing to be courageous to bring it to the light, ask for guidance, and then follow the guidance? And then is the person you're with willing to do the work too, to move with you and be courageous with you? Okay, I'll continue on. You can compromise on couch rules, training, gates, and who walks whom. Yeah, yes, you can. You cannot compromise on whether your family members get to exit. Your boyfriend is being honest, so be honest back. Agreed. I think we talked about that. Tell him that the dogs are staying. Yes. And if he wants a future with you, it has to be a future with them. Don't be embarrassed. You're not being dramatic at all. Plenty of people have deal breakers in relationships. Yours just happens to have wagging tails. Yeah, that's good. I like that. There's only one little piece about. Actually, I agree with most of this person's advice and response to Two Leashes, One Heart. So, my friends, that wraps it up for today. Going ahead, I do have, for now, I am accepting, it's March 2026. I am accepting if you've got a question that you want me to read anonymously, and then we'll work through it with these universal truths, these practical applications of spiritual universal truths. Go on ahead, you can email me at info@jenniferrose.love. So that's open for now. I think I'm going to try to keep it open through the end of the year. I feel like we all need more help and more support. And keep it short, keep it brief. Write it out a couple times, do a couple drafts, and then send it in. Okay, my friends, take care out there.